Hey, folks, welcome back to the Land Fixer podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Logan Swanson. Today we have a very exciting guest. Brent Bowers, the Land Sharks, is here. Say hi to everybody.
Logan, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Thanks for having me on the Land Fixer podcast. This is
All right.
exciting.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, folks, as usual, if you need funding for any of your land deals, flips, developments, anything like that, check out landpartnerfunding.com. If you're a land owner and you want to partner with me and bring your own property into the deal, I'm happy to do that as well. Just reach out to me, email me at thelandfixer@gmail.com. And that's it. Brent, how are you?
Good, man. I'm just staring at that big old state of Texas behind you there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I
doing
once had
good,
a
man.
goal to try to own land in every county.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How many counties are there in Texas?
Too many. I should.
Too many. Who
Yeah, there's
cares?
not a
That's a lot.
chance. Yeah, my model went from trying to be all over the map to try to be in the tightest area of the map possible.
That's brilliant because, we do this for a lot. We can't let the ego get in charge. It's sometimes like it's about what gives us the lifestyle freedom, the time freedom. Like I was just telling you right before we got on here, my son's school changed times on me like the flick of a moment.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I was like, I had to reschedule 3 things. And she's like, well, isn't that why you're an entrepreneur? And I was like, okay, touche, So,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
think freedom is probably a primary motivator for most of us. You think it is for you?
Oh my goodness, it was for me when I was leaving the military. It still is. Like it's not about I don't do this to be rich or wealthy. Yeah, the money helps, but it's about the time freedom. It's about being able to go to my children's school today to watch their medal challenge. It's about being able to take my son to his appointment to check out another school that's gonna be better for him. It's about taking all day Friday off to go race. And it's about just living life how we want to live it. I think we have a very short time on this earth. We better make the most of it. We better serve God and do it the best we can, serve others. But I don't think we do that if we're just struggling to get by. People that
Yeah.
struggle, who are they serving?
Yeah. I have a good friend of mine who's always talking about, leveraging real estate in order to create abundance. And that's kind of sunk into my bones a lot more. The further along I've got into all this is like, I think it did start as just freedom and wealth. Like I'm just pursuing this thing that looks good on other people, right? I knew other people who were like my first job when I moved to Dallas was at a Starbucks. And I was constantly amazed at people who were just like sitting on their laptops. I was like, that's amazing. That's your whole day. You go sit at a Starbucks for like 3 or 4 hours. So I always aspired to have that. And then once I had that, it didn't really wear thin. I wouldn't say it's worn thin at all, but it's definitely not like permanently gratifying, right? So I feel like that's stirring to try to build something bigger, but kind of for other people. Like I feel like I have mine. All right, I have a little bit of freedom. Bills are paid. So what can I do to help someone else? Do you have any motivations like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about just being excited about what you do. Yeah, I too was the same exact way. I just see people going to Starbucks or taking this time, taking lunch breaks. I didn't have any of that when I was in the military. I would have killed for that. Now it's like sitting on my computer at any time, anywhere, sending emails is almost like that sucks. I don't want to do that anymore. Today, I just found out that I could dictate emails with ChatGPT and all that, and it's like really cool because I can talk way faster than I can email. So I feel like that was my huge win for today, my epiphany, because email is a sore subject with me. But yeah, it's just about doing what excites you. Like me getting on like we do a lot of this land virtually. But I prefer to go to it. I prefer to see it. I prefer to see the mobile home put on. Prefer to go and ride around on it. That's what excites me in this business. It's not just doing another land deal and, sending emails and doing Google Maps. Like that's just like a process in this type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as motivation, I don't know. Just do what excites you every day.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's how you tap into passion, right? Well, it's kind of funny. We go way back, actually. The first time I met you was back at the Land Geek
Yeah, man.
flight school program in
A
San
while.
Antonio, like
Yep.
8 years ago, 9 years ago, something like that. I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Um,
Shoot, I think I've got in land. My first land deal was 2016. So we're almost at we're at 9 years
yeah,
now.
yeah. Yeah.
That was before I joined the coaching and all that with you. But heck yeah, good times back then. San Antonio. My wife was there with me as well, Emily.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember we were driving down and I had put together a mailer. It was like 20, 30 pieces of mail. So like right when we got into San Antonio, we dropped them off and I'm pretty sure we bought a property off of that like 30-piece mailer back in the day.
dude, that's what it's all about. Okay, anybody listening to this podcast, the Land Fixer podcast, should rewind back. Logan wasn't just going to learn; he was going in action mode. You bought it, that's what it's all about. Like you got to take action when you're inspired. Like I did land deals before I went to the Land Geek conference as well, and I guarantee you, I don't remember how many people were at that event, but I guarantee you, 90% of those people probably never did anything
Yeah.
because they got excited, they got jazzed, and then Monday came around. They're like, "Oh, got to go to my job. The dog peed on the floor again," and they forget to send their letters.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I look at some of the gurus and educators now and I'm maybe a little bit more critical, but I mean, I wouldn't have started if I didn't have that. I remember I bought that like cheap, instead of flight school, I got like the cheapest package from the Land Geek to start or whatever. And it was just a bunch of stuff to read, but it was a bunch of useful information. I just didn't really know how to practice it. And when I bought that, I got like one free coaching call with Mike Zano.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I remember I
I
was
still
sitting there.
talk to Mike, by the way.
Oh,
He's no
really?
longer
Yeah.
with them.
So
Yeah.
next time you talk to him, tell him he probably doesn't even remember, but we had like done the thing where you like got the county list and we were sitting there trying to organize the data and put it all together and price it and I spent like probably 2 to 3 weeks just toying around with this spreadsheet. And I called Mike and I was like, look, dude, this isn't working. What's going on here? And he's like, what's wrong, man? How much mail have you sent? I was like, oh, I haven't sent any mail. He's like, what? You're saying it doesn't work. You haven't even sent a piece of mail. All you're doing is messing around with spreadsheets. And I was like, okay, yeah.
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 And
So that was
people mistake that for working. Now we just throw that thing into Chat GPT and be like, do this with it. And then if a Chat GPT doesn't give me what you want, I'll say, all right, take a deep breath and let's try it again. Literally, I say that to Chat GPT and they spit out a better result. But yeah, it's about getting that offer letter in the mail. Really, at the end of the day, if anybody wants to figure out how to be successful in land, and you can take this whatever direction you want to go, Logan, but you got to make offers to people that own land and you got to sell that land. And here's one way you can do it. You can figure out who's buying that land first. Now you have your buyer. Now you have demand. Now go find the supply. Where's the supply? You pull a list of landowners that own land in that area and you make offers to them, whether it be through your land offer letter or call them. Like those two things. Like there's no other way to do it except for go knock on their door, which that might be a little harder because most
yeah.
of the time they live all over the world.
Yeah. I like that kick in the pants from Mike Zano really kicked me off. But now when I reflect back, like what you were saying, I mean, in every business, there's a fundamental step or like two fundamental steps. And I think when we get overwhelmed, we decide to like play around with everything on the fray. I'm going to develop a software to do
Oh
this.
yeah.
Like I talked to like everybody's on some sort of crazy side quest. But yeah, at the end of the day, the business of the business is make offers and take offers.
I'm
That's
gonna
it.
organize. I'm gonna organize my inbox. Like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna clean up my desktop. Like if you saw my desk right now, you think I'm a rat. It's a mess. And you see my inbox. There's like 29,000 unread emails, and it's a freaking mess. Like, but here's the thing: I make money every day, and that's all you got to do is cover your expenses to have the lifestyle freedom, the time freedom, the ability to do this business, and don't spend more than you make. That's really it. That's the even simpler life.
That's a
Like
trick right there.
Brent's an idiot. Like I thought I was going to get good advice from him today. Well, I found the best advice from like if you get advice from billionaires, everything they tell you is just like really basic, and it's like, no, I wanted to know the secrets,
Yeah.
and they give you more basic stuff. But the problem is most people don't do the basics, like sending the offer letters. Like Mike Zano kind of slapped you across the head, and he's got that Maryland rough accent. So yeah, it might have ticked you off. Like he's a firefighter. Like they're probably a little rough, but that's what you needed to hear at the time.
That's
And
exactly what I needed to hear. Yeah. I
I
mean,
feel like I could, yeah.
Yeah, I just love people who are like brutally honest and then they'll look at you like, all right, you know you're doing something wrong here. So tell us about your progression, right? I mean, you did some land geek stuff. I'm guessing you built up a note portfolio like I did. Are you still doing the same sort of stuff today?
Heck yeah, it all still works. And man, I got to have you on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. Like, thanks so much for reaching out to me. And just, this is like a little reunion for me. I'm enjoying this. Hopefully we're providing value for your audience. But yes, let me break down what the life looks like I call myself a land investor. Really, at the end of the day, I used to flip houses. I've wholesaled houses, and I use those experiences to just do this with vacant raw land. And it was so much easier than the houses. And like, I don't kid around when I say, oh man, another dirty old stinky cat pee house. I literally just got a rental back. I'm trying to sell all my rentals in Colorado, by the way. Colorado is not landlord friendly anyhow, but yeah, I just got another cat pee house back that I own, which is terrible. But yeah, I go in areas where land's selling. There's a beautiful map of Texas, one of the best areas, I think, to invest in land. You find out where the land's selling, you price that area out, you make a bunch of offers because if land is sold, that means there's a buyer there. And I don't really deal in the desert squares like the land geek taught us. I'd like to deal in stuff that, people want. Not that that's all I don't know. Maybe that's just all I learned from it. But I like to deal in land that people want. I make a bunch of offers every single day automatically. These land deals come back in my inbox and we reach out to the owner to make sure they still want to sell it to us. We do our due diligence. We either get it under contract and assign that contract, or we get it under contract to buy and flip. I try and seller finance everything I possibly can because at the end of the day, that's like having rental income come through, but I never have to repair a house. I have an 8-unit mobile home park. Every single week, I get a call with a repair. What a pain in the butt. But yeah, that's what it looks like. So then I take that land money and then I buy other assets with it that keep turning income, and it also gives me like tax benefits, and after you've done 300 plus land deals, which you've probably done a lot as well, I'm sure at this point, they're like the same thing over and over and over. So now I like to put brand new mobile homes on these parcels of land, which has been, I can't even believe how much that's grown and exploded. We got one under contract yesterday. We're selling the mobile and the lot we own next door for $117,000 net profit.
Damn.
We bought two parcels, put a brand new mobile home on it. The buyer wants the one next door. He's paying cash for it. We close on Halloween Day, and we're literally pulling over 100K profit. And we were going to develop the second lot by putting a mobile home on it, and we don't even have to now. We're going to make just as much profit by just selling him the vacant land, which is like a home run,
Yeah.
absolute home.
So walk us through one of those deals, right? So let's start at the very beginning. Do you have special acquisition campaigns just for properties that are suitable for mobile homes?
Now that you say that, yeah, absolutely, I do. I just set up this special acquisition campaign. It's all no, I'm just kidding. We find out we're just the same thing with our land business. We figure out where the mobiles are selling. We go in, we price the areas out. We make offers on the land because I want to get a massive discount on the land. Because if I get a massive discount on the land and the discount on my mobile home, like those two things together net me. We won't touch the land mobile home deal unless we're going to make at least $50,000 net profit. They take about 4 months from the time of purchase to the time we sell. And you got to be real careful. You cannot, like, if you pick the wrong area, you don't want to be sitting on one of these mobile homes for 8 or 9 months and not sell. You also want to make sure that you can have an abundance of buyers. What does that mean? The price gets jacked up. And it also means of getting it under contract within like the first week. If your mobile home doesn't go under contract in the first week, you either price it too high, you pick the wrong area, or you pick the wrong house with the land. So there's a couple things that I can't really explain it, all of it in
Yeah.
a quick podcast, but that's it. We figure out where the demand's at. We make a bunch of offers on land, and we don't we don't build on all the parcels. A lot of them we will sell those parcels to other people. And if I look back, and Logan, you should check this out too. If I look back at my best, most profitable land deals, it's usually because there was a mobile home allowed to be built on it. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
I mean, that definitely speeds up every transaction. So are there usually utilities present? or are you having to run any infrastructure before setting the house?
Sometimes, yeah, every area is different. Most of the ones I'm doing are on one or more acres, and I have to do a septic
Hmm.
and a system and a well. You gotta be careful with that. You want to make sure that it's far enough away from each other. I won't touch the lot if it's not at least an acre or more, if there's not already water and sewer hooked up. Now, if you can get those lots, those are even better money usually.
Hmm.
Those deals, and they'll sell even faster because you're usually closer to town. But how that process looks is it's kind of like the same as a land deal, but there's just a couple more steps. Like you got to get, the mobile home ordered, and we deal directly with the manufacturer. So we're getting manufacturer costs. Like I'm not going pulling up to one of these mobile home sales you see on the side of the road with the big
Yeah.
billboard and you can walk through. Most of the time you see those places, they're like falling apart. They also rip you off because they mark it up so high and there's no way an investor can make money. I have in the past because I got such amazing land deals, but now I can pay full market price for a piece of land and still make money by doing this because of these little techniques. And then there's also some things like economy of scale. Like if we buy 10 acres and we put, 10 houses on it, now we just were able to do 10 in one area by subdividing that land. But there's a few steps before that. You want to make sure the county's going to let you do that.
Yeah.
Talk to the planning and zoning, little things like that, we got checklists for all of it. It's just, and I think I jumped around a little bit, but you could pretty much fly a helicopter if you had the right checklist, which is very dangerous, by the way. I don't recommend anybody getting a helicopter. You'll kill yourself. No.
So, do you see this as a pivot in your business, or is this just another strategy that already kind of nestles into what you were doing?
Yeah, there's a couple areas that it was a pivot for me because I bought a bunch of land and I didn't sell it quick enough. So I was like, oh man, I might break even on these. And we're not in
Yeah.
this business to break even. We're in it to make money. And so I started looking and I was like, oh, look at these mobile homes selling. And I started working with some other land sharks we have in our community, and they were building mobile homes. So it was almost like all the writing was on the wall. So it was a pivot in some areas to answer your question, Logan, but it's also in other areas, it's just another strategy to do, better land deals. I'm not the guy doing all this myself. I hired a partner. I shouldn't say I hired him. I have a partner that I pay a lot of money to help me do these, but we got him the right, education. Now I teach people how to do this, but we taught him how to do it. And this guy is amazing because we were in the military together,
Okay.
and he's the best project manager. You're like, he makes sure the ball keeps rolling every day. If it were me, I'd probably still be sitting on 4 vacant parcels of land, out in Florida that we had. But no, we're listing all 4 next week. We won't list them all at the same time because they're in the same area, but we're going to list one and then allow people to look at all 4 because you want to have scarcity as well.
Right. Do you have any other strategies that you lean on in terms of improvement? Like, I know you mentioned maybe doing a subdivision and putting 10 mobile homes. Do you do other similar things, subdivisions, entitlement work, anything like that?
Yeah, I do some entitlements. I do one a year. I try to do one a year. We've got 6 parcels we subdivided in South Carolina. We just got another offer. So we got 1 parcel left to sell out of the 6.
Hell yeah.
Those are way more money. It makes us way more money. But I recommend anybody just starting, don't go well, I should say that. Let me be very cautious here. I've seen people doing simple land flips just like me and then go into entitlements and subdivides and lose a bunch of money or stop their income for months at a time.
Yeah.
So I say do both. Absolutely do both. And, there's guys that I taught how to do land. That's all they do. Like
Yeah.
they're like, well, I'm not going to do the deal unless I'm going to make 500K. And I'm like, holy crap. I was happy to make 5K when I started, but
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I missed something earlier. You said that you're still selling a majority of your properties on owner finance, correct?
I try to.
Okay.
Not all of them sell that way though, because when you get into a different category of land, there's bank financing for the more
Yep.
expensive stuff or lines of credit. Anything under like 30 grand that I have bought, usually I'm the one seller financing it.
Yep. So in that strategy, I mean, when we started, that was easy. You're buying properties at 10, 15 cents on the dollar. I mean, sometimes less than that. So
Yeah.
my goal back then was like, all right, I want to sell this property, and between the down payment and the first 3 months payments, I want to be in profit. And ideally,
Yep.
then you have a 3, 4, 5, 6 year note sometimes after that. And it may not be a big monthly, but it's all profit.
It all
Um,
adds up.
so does that formula still work for you? Are you having to command higher down payments to keep that sort of in a profitable status?
I don't really do that formula anymore because it's just as easy to make, 20, 30,000 profit as it is to make 3,000. So yes, I used to shoot for the same thing. I would try and be profitable with my down payment. Now, I'll just give you an example of one I just got paid off on. The land sold for 250,000. I bought it for 150,000. The buyer gave me $25,000 down payment. So I got a problem, right? I got
Yep.
125 grand locked up into this land. Well, I realized a long time ago that we're in the money business. So the more money I had, so when I was doing the 5 and 10 and $20,000 lots, it's just because I only had that much money in my bank
Yes.
account and that's all I could buy.
Yeah.
Well, I realized that wealthy people leverage themselves, money, time. They're not working for the dollars. They're not trading their time for money. They're leveraging everything. So I started sharing what I was doing with everyone, just like on this podcast. I would share, 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 share. I'd show 'em how I found the land, how much I made, how I sold it, everything I'm talking about on this podcast. And I would say, yeah, I'm looking to do more this year. If you have some money in the stock market or a self-directed IRA, or maybe you're dumb and you just leave your money in a checking account and you earn no interest. I'm just kidding. I don't actually say that part. Reach out. Let's do some real estate deals together. So now I have a list of almost like 85 lenders of people that want to loan me money at like 8%. And I'm not talking about like Bank of America or hard money lenders. I'm talking about regular people just like you and I, Logan. They're either plumbers or my father-in-law. They're my neighbor. They're my dentist that say, yeah, I got 100K. It's in the stock market. I'm freaking out because I see it go up and I see it go down. I would love to have you secure that money with a piece of land and pay me 8% interest per annum. And I'm like, all right, I'll call you when I got the deal type thing. And now when I get a deal, I just look at my list and like, all right, let's see if John still got that, 200K. And sometimes they lend it out to someone else because I don't get to it fast enough. But I say, I'll call you on the next one, John, type thing. So I marry that deal to the right person. So that deal, I had 125 grand left in. I'm paying 9% interest, or actually, I was paying 12% on that one. That's before I had all these lenders. So it gets just better and better. But I'm paying 12% interest to that money on 125K, but I'm getting 12% interest on 225K.
Plus the down payment.
Yeah, that 25K. So
Yep.
I paid it down payment. And sometimes I just keep that money in my account. But if I'm getting interest on 250K at 12% and I'm only paying 12% on 150K, there's a pretty good positive arbitrage. And I kind of manipulate the numbers. I always try and get my loan to pay off as quick as possible with my lender. Like I've got another one that's 5-year payoff to my lender, but a 13-year payoff to me. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make over 100K on that deal with not a single penny of my own money. And I got paid in the front end. I get paid every month because I pay my lender $800. I collect $967, so it's $167. I'm not going to get rich on that, but in about 2 more years, my lender's paid off, which is my father-in-law. So I'll free up 40 more K for me to use again, and I'll keep that whole 947 a month.
Yeah, that's a really good situation to be in when you have more people wanting to offer you money than you can leverage.
Yeah, it's kind of now for a while there, it bothered me. I felt like I had to put that money to work, but
The
I don't have a
responsibility.
fund. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, when are you going to start a fund?" And I was like, yeah, I don't want 900 people I got to work for and tell me what to do and how to make money with their fund.
And report to the FDIC.
That's true. Yeah, the IRS is enough. So
Yeah. So I want to get into talking about your community here in a minute, but I always try to ask guests that are actively doing deals, right? That are really heavily involved in the industry currently. How have things changed over the past year? And do you have any thoughts or predictions on what you might see in this coming year?
Yeah, things have changed a little bit. A couple of my areas, they kind of slowed down on sales where I could sell something in 30 days before. It takes me now 3 months. But on the other hand, I've got these mobile homes that are like selling like hotcakes because we figured out exactly where to place and what to place in exactly the right location. So the interest rates slowed my land business down, but now the interest rates have increased my mobile home land sales because you know, for instance, I'll give you an example. 1,500 square foot house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath on an acre and a quarter of land. If that's a CBS or concrete block structure or stick built house, that house is going to sell for 369.5 in my area. But I put the same exact 3 bedroom, 2 bath house, drywall, upgraded bathroom, standalone tub, mobile home that has 1 year of warranty, same size parcel of land. Mine sells for 269.5, so 100K less. Now, if the interest rates are 6%, that person's going to pay $600 less a month for my home than they will that concrete block structure. So I have a bigger buyer pool.
That's the way to do it, right? So tell me, last question before we talk about the land sharks a little bit. What's the do you have a bigger goal? Like for me, I've always had this moving target. I'd set a goal,
Yeah.
achieve it, overcome it, and then feel like, all right, what's the next big thing? Because I'm bored mostly or feeling uninspired. Do you have a bigger, broader goal that kind of keeps you motivated instead of just kind of feeling like you're doing the same thing over and over again?
Are my goals not big enough for you, Logan? you know, that's such a good point because if we keep moving the goalposts, we never feel like we're always running. We're always like stay on the hamster wheel. I am definitely living my dreams, but my goal right now is to start paying off a lot of these properties that I own or I'm sorry, I bought and the bank has mortgages on it or private lending. So really it's not to acquire anything else. It's just to now just build the long-term wealth, be debt free because a lot of these, real estate investors, they get this good debt. I want to pay it all off now at this point because, we got enough properties where it's like in 12 years they'll all be paid off, but I don't want to wait that long.
Mm-hmm.
Also like I'm kind of enjoying life because, we're taking off this Friday. We race four-wheelers. So I guess the bigger goal is, to sell one of these land mobile home packages a month. So I'm at about one every other month at this point. I
Okay.
want to get to one a month and just keep, securing the wealth. And also I want to get rid of all my house rentals. So that's kind of my 6 month goal. Like I'm trying to get rid of all my houses. And I'm not up here like poor mouthing, but I just don't want to own house rentals anymore. So I don't know if I answered your question. I don't think I want to grow much more because I'm pretty happy where it's at. I've had the team of 15 people. Now it's down to me and like 3 people.
Yeah.
So it's very manageable. Are there more trips lined up and whatnot? Absolutely. Like we enjoy traveling and taking time off. So I guess all that to say is, I've had my foot on the gas for a long time, just like you. Like we've been 9 years punching this gas with this land business. So it's time to sit back and enjoy the fruits of the labor. You don't always have to be building and growing, but that's what we do as entrepreneurs and visionaries.
Yeah, I've kind of found that to be an interesting question for most people. And even as like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, when I talked to people, they would like have, oh, I want to build my own community or I want to take down this giant property and that's kind of still where I am, honestly. But it's interesting how that I've been hearing that change for a lot of people. They're like, I don't need more headache. Like all those
Yeah.
bigger goals are more headache. And sure, there's like fruit at the end of that. But how much of that is ego? How much of that is just me wanting to say that I did this big thing? So that's definitely something that I struggle with. I think you have a real clear mind to say that, let's just keep this going. Let's keep this going, improve this, fine tune this a little bit, and just try to make life easier and more enjoyable.
Oh man,
Um,
you hit it on the head. Fine tune what we got going on because I think too many people are well, I'm supposed to call today and see if I can buy this laundromat. Like, yeah, that might be shiny object right there. Maybe I should
yeah.
fine tune my other stuff I've got going on because there's always something we could fine tune. We can always make it better, more profitable, tighten it up. We maybe I think I coach a lot of people in the land sharks, and one of the quickest ways we can do to have more money in our pockets is go through our expenses and see what's profitable today. If it's not profitable today, then pause it or cancel it.
Hmm. So yeah, tell us more about the Land Sharks community. What was your motivation for starting it, and what does it look like now?
Yeah, so the motivation was in 2018. I got out of the military and I was making like 18 grand a month in land payments. And that was like most of that was pure profit. Actually, I didn't have any lenders at the time, so it was profit. I like created that out of nothing, thin air, like because I started in 2016 and I was making like $4,000 a month in the military. So I went from working all these hours in the military to having all this time on my hands. So I was going to lunch and coffee on every appointment. You can just, I don't know, just sharing my knowledge. And I was like felt like I was wasting my time. Like I'd be the one paying for coffee, and then people wouldn't like value my time, and like they'd take a cell phone call while I was trying to help them, and they're asking me those questions. I just paid for coffee. You want to pick my brain? I hate that word, by the way. If you're listening to this podcast and you reach out to someone that you see as successful and you want to get knowledge from them, don't say pick their brain. I think that's just disgusting. It's like you want to pick my nose too at the same time, but so they weren't doing anything. And I had a mentor. I had a coach at the time as well. And he's like, how's the land business going? I was like, it's going great. And he's like, are you teaching people how to do it? And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to. He's like, well, what kind of results? And I'm like, they're not getting any results. And he's like, how much do you charge? And I was like, nothing. He goes, dummy, that's your problem. There's a reason why there's librarians all over the country, but none of them are rich because they don't have to pay anything for that knowledge. It's given to them, and they're not taking action because they didn't pay anything for it. So I was like, okay. Well, it was so crazy. It's like God orchestrated this perfectly. I was speaking at a meetup that I had started, real estate meetup. Me and Colin Smith started in Colorado Springs, and I gave him a whole presentation on my land business. And I was really trying to get lenders. I wasn't trying to teach people, but I was like, well, you can do everything I just mentioned there here to set this up, or you can just, partner with me and I'll put your money to work. And the guy walks up, he's like, how much? I was like, how much what? He's like, how much to teach me what you know? And I was like, $1,000. And
Yeah.
I thought I was going shooting for the stars. And it made me really nervous to say that, but I didn't think of all the hundreds of thousands of dollars I spent on education over the past years. And he's like, all right. And he like sent me a PayPal like that next morning. And I just had my first student and I was like, oh crap, how am I going to show them how to do this? So I was like, all right, I'm going to just walk you through step by step. So I would give him like, all right, go do. I'll give him like 3 action steps and he'd call me like 2 hours later, like, all right, I did it. And I was like, oh shoot. Um, so I'm crazy. So I took on 16 people at the same time. So I'm like one-on-one coaching 16 people and I got all these slides, which step we're in. And I was pulling my hair out trying to get all 16 of these guys because I didn't know how to teach someone to do a land deal. It was the most growth I think I'd ever had in my entire life because I just took $16,000. I felt like I stole $16,000 from people. And I don't know why. I was flipping land. I'd buy it for like $300 and sell it for 16,000. Like I never felt bad about that.
Hmm.
But that's how the Land Sharks was born. I got all 16 of those guys to do a deal. One of those, that first guy I mentioned, he's like in Maui now with him and his 6 kids living off of his passive income. But he makes a lot more money than I do per month in land. And yeah, I had to swallow that pill too. People are making more money than I am. And I'm like, oh, I need to do better. So the
Yeah.
thief of happiness is comparison.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of growth throughout the years of teaching people how to do land.
I'm
But
guessing you're
what
still
a
not
way.
doing one-on-ones with 16 students. What does it look like now?
I have take that back, 2 one-on-one people. I talk to them once a month. I don't prefer the one-on-one at all. I show you what to do in the Land Sharks community. I do 3 live calls a week, and then people can reach out to me if they need. Like they get my cell phone number, but yeah, I give them everything they possibly would need to where if they reach out, it's usually a 911 or like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
about to make. Like I've had calls in the middle of the night. I just made 400K on land deal, and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's
So
like a really powerful moment when I mean, not that you invented the knowledge, but you were just able
yeah,
to play your role to get someone to a point where they're establishing some freedom in their lives. Because I mean, there's nothing worse than seeing people treading water, like good, hardworking, smart people that are just wrapped up in some sort of job that isn't pleasing them, satisfying them, making them enough money to live an adventurous life. And then you get to just play that little role, connect them to the information. Maybe you'll poke them a little bit along the way. Yeah,
that's right.
that's cool, man. Well, I know you have a heart out. So how can folks reach out to you? They go to the Land Sharks group on Facebook or?
Yeah, the landsharks.com. I have a Land Sharks group on Facebook too. But yeah, the landsharks.com is probably the easiest way to get in touch with me. You can schedule right on my calendar there. Yeah, that's still me. I still take the calls. We keep the community really small. And maybe you don't want to join a community. Maybe you just want to be pointed in the right direction. Be happy to do that as well. There's so many people that have helped me along the way to be where I'm at right now. I could sit here and make a list of probably 100 people.
Yeah, I agree. Well, just respecting your out time, Brent. I really appreciate you coming on. It's good to see an old familiar face. Looking pretty young, though, I'll say that. You look great.
Oh man.
We look forward to talking to you again. I'm hoping some folks will visit you at the Land Sharks and maybe work with you, learn a little bit about the land game.
Thanks so much, Logan. Thanks much. I appreciate you so much, and we'll see you next time.
All right, everybody, cheers.